I just recently got back from my trip out to California and Disneyland. It was a super awesome time, but it was definitely one of those vacations where you come home and you kind of need a vacation from the vacation. But super cool to see San Francisco and San Diego for the first time, and of course, awesome to be back at Disneyland. We really didn't have that much time at Disneyland, but we were able to jam-pack in so much. My mom and I, we wore my handmade Lollipop Ears the whole time, and we got an awesome response. So many guests and cast members stopped us to talk about the ears. I think the best thing was seeing all the little kids just look and ogle at them, because they do look like real lollipops, and I think a lot of people were confused and thought that they were actual lollipops that I just stuck onto my headband. But you don't want to eat these ears. They held up super well, and it was fun to finally show them off in the parks. But because I was in the parks and at the Walt Disney Family Museum in San Francisco, I had to buy some things as souvenirs, pretty much all of which were pins. I'm going to start with what I got at the Walt Disney Family Museum. If you aren't familiar with it, the Walt Disney Family Museum is located in San Francisco actually, and it's actually founded by the Disney family, specifically Diane Disney Miller, who was one of Walt Disney's daughters. So this is like the pure Disney legacy being passed down. The museum was absolutely amazing. I have a whole video on my channel showing clips from the museum so you can kind of get an idea of what it's like. And if you are ever in the Bay Area and even a Disney fan in the slightest, you have to check it out. It is such a well done museum, and we could have spent all day there. And bonus for me is that they also have a number of exclusive pins there, so you can only find these pins at the Walt Disney Family Museum. The pins also are all Disney official pins with the Mickey pin backs on. This first pin I got was a Walt Disney Family Museum logo pin that features Goofy as a baseball player. Goofy is in kind of a nondescript San Francisco Giants uniform, but I thought this pin was actually perfect because we were mainly in San Francisco to see the Chicago Cubs play the San Francisco Giants. And this pin was just an absolute perfect melding of the Disney and baseball. So on the back you can see that this does come with the rubber Mickey pin backs. This was $13, so the pins were pretty much the same range of what you would pay in the parks. And this is what the back of the pins look like. They do have that copyright Disney stamp and also the Walt Disney Family Museum stamp. The next pin that I got was this pin featuring Dopey and Doc and the multi-plane camera. The Family Museum has a full multi-plane camera there on display, and so I thought this pin was the perfect melding of Disney history, and you don't really see artwork like this on many of the pins that you would just find in the parks. So this felt very unique to the museum, and it was just a really awesome design. This last pin that I got was my absolute favorite pin from there, and one that I've been really wanting for some time, and it is the Zippity-Doo-Dah Pin featuring some of the characters from Splash Mountain and Song of the South. You have Brer Rabbit, Brer Fox, and Brer Bear under a Zippity-Doo-Dah banner. Again, I love the design of this pin, and as you can tell from my channel name, Zippity-Doo Disney, I'm a very big fan of the song Zippity-Doo-Dah and Splash Mountain. So those were the pins that I got from the Walt Disney Family Museum. They did have quite a large selection of pins, and in my video showcasing the Walt Disney Family Museum, I have a clip at the end that shows all the pins that are available there. I would have loved to have gotten more pins from there since it's probably the only time I'll be able to visit the museum, but obviously I had to plan out where I wanted to actually spend my money along the trip. So now moving on to the things that I got at Disneyland. I only have like 1.5 things that aren't pins, so I'll quickly share those first. The first, which is kind of the half, is this button that I got from one of the cast members at the confectionery in downtown Disney. My mom and I stopped in there because we love to look at the treats, even though we can't really have or shouldn't have most of them. And the cast members there really loved the Lollipop Ears since they have a whole huge display of lollipops. So one of the cast members actually made these I'm celebrating buttons that say, "I'm celebrating my awesome ears." They gave these to us right as we were actually leaving Disney, so it was the perfect magical moment to end the trip. Since I just talked about how I like Zippity-Doo-Dah and Splash Mountain, my mom actually bought this Zippity-Doo-Dah shirt for me. There wasn't really a store at the end of Splash Mountain, but they had this shirt, which I hadn't seen before, and I totally love it. It just says Zippity-Doo-Dah and Splash Mountain in this really pretty font. I like that it is something that is Disney, but it's a little bit more subtle. And so my mom was nice enough and awesome that since I sell my ears under Zippity-Doo Ears and my channel is Zippity-Doo Disney, that she thought that this would be the perfect shirt for me to have. But now it's on to a lot of pins from the parks. I have a lot of individual little Pixar Fest bags since I made quite a few individual pin purchases throughout this day. So in this first bag here are our free pins and lanyards that we got from the Walt Disney Travel Company. We stayed at the Paradise Pier Hotel, and we actually got a magical moment upgrade where our room got a view of DCA, but all guests who book a stay through the Disneyland Resort, they get this free pin and lanyard combo. I'm the only person in my family who cares about pins, so I have all 4 of them here. This pin and lanyard combo is actually the same that I got last year at our stay at Disneyland. It just features Minnie and Mickey in front of the castle with Disneyland below, and then the lanyard reads Walt Disney Travel Company. Right when we checked into the Paradise Pier Hotel, I made a quick run to the gift shop to get some pins. The first one was this 2018 Disneyland Resort Year pin. When I buy pins from the parks, it's pretty much always for souvenirs to commemorate my trip. Ever since I started collecting back in 2003, that's what pins always were for me. So I think having a year pin for the year that you went for the trip is a pretty classic, and I'm so in love with the artwork style that they have for the 2018 year merchandise. This one says 2018 Disneyland Resort, the year to be here. Then it has all your park icons on it. But the pin itself is really shiny. It has some glittery accents. Really happy with this one being the first pin of my Disney trip. And then I got a Paradise Pier Hotel pin. I again always like to get a pin of the resort that I stay at. And so this was the first time we stayed at the Paradise Pier Hotel. We were there for such a short amount of time and barely in our rooms, but it was actually very convenient to the parks and its theming was super cute. So this pin features Mickey as a lifeguard with the Paradise Pier Hotel logo, and then this actually has a little hinge to it, so it opens up and you can see a little bit of a full beach scene there. So I'm happy that this one will be joining my family of other Disney resort pins. Okay, I think this is on to bag 3 of pin purchases. So this one is a new attraction pin, and this one is the brand new pin for the Incredicoaster. I always love to start off the Disney day with a roller coaster. I scream a lot on rides, and I was definitely screaming a lot on the Incredicoaster. I did get to ride it as California Screamin' last year, and I have to say the Incredicoaster really is a step up, even though there's nothing changed in the track, but it's fully themed to the Incredibles. It has this full story. You're hearing them speak to you with the Incredibles music in the background. So whenever I really like an attraction, I always like to get the pin for it to put on my attractions board. This one says, "Let's do that again," with the Incredicoaster logo and Dash running on it. So I think retheming it as the Incredicoaster really did add a lot to the ride experience. When I bought that pin, I also bought this Hidden Mickey mystery pouch. I love these Hidden Mickey mystery pouches. As I always say, they are your #1 way to get 100% guaranteed authentic Hidden Mickey pins. And I have never opened actually this type of Hidden Mickey before, because these are Disneyland's Hidden Mickeys from 2015 Wave A. I've opened quite a number of these from Walt Disney World, but never the series from Disneyland. I did actually open recently on my channel a white pouch of Disneyland Hidden Mickeys, but those were totally sold out. They seem to have been in stock for only a short amount of time, but I wanted to grab one of these while I was there, and also I know that some of the completer pins have been showing up in these, so I thought right now I might just open this up, include it in this video, and see if I have any luck with some pins in here. All right, so this first one, this is one I'm happy with. It's one that I already have, but I like these pins, and this is a Hidden Mickey Pretzel pin. I loved this food series from Disneyland, obviously because I have pretty much all of them. So this is one where Mickey is shaped like a Mickey pretzel. I'm not at all mad about this one. And then there's one other pin in here. It looks circular. Oh, this one looks to be like a Bambi pin. And looking at the back, this is a completer pin. Yes, I'm so excited. Yes, this says Hidden Mickey Pin Completer Pin. This was worth it. Really happy that I picked this up. So these Hidden Mickey completer pins, I talked about them a bit in my last Hidden Mickey opening video. Hidden Mickey pins are released typically as a series of either 5 or 6 pins, but there's always one extra pin that isn't released in the parks. And nowadays you can only find these pins in these Hidden Mickey mystery pouches. So this pin is a circular design with a silhouette of something from Bambi, nice lime green background, and on the back you can see that this says Hidden Mickey Pin / Completer Pin. I would have loved to have picked up more packs of these in the parks, but I don't have an annual pass, so I don't get annual pass holder discounts, and I think a pack of these is about $13, so I had to hold myself off at one, but very happy with the selection that I got. Onward to the next pin purchase bag. This one in here is another attraction pin, and I fell so in love with this ride. This is the attraction pin for Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout. My brother and I, we loved this ride so much. We rode it twice. I wished I could have just ridden it all day long. I never got to ride the tower that was at DCA, although I love Tower in Walt Disney World. But just based on riding this ride, this has to be way better than whatever was there before. It really was so much fun. So I had to stop in the gift shop of the ride and get this attraction pin. That also was the only place that I actually saw the attraction pin for Mission Breakout. So always be sure to stop in the gift shops for the actual rides if there's something ride specific that you're looking for. This pin is also really pretty. It has a full kind of translucent fill background. It says Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout. I don't really care about Guardians of the Galaxy, and the theming doesn't really matter that much to me, but the ride itself was such a fun time. And as well, always to note with these Marvel pins that on the back they do not come with your Mickey pin backs. They actually come with just a plain black rubber stopper back, but they are still official Disney trading pins. It's just something kind of weird that Disney has worked out with Marvel. This is my final bag of pin purchases, and it actually contains limited edition pins. I was very excited that there were some really awesome limited edition pins releasing while I was there. This, I got the full purchasing limited edition pin experience. The first one is the 63 Years Disneyland Pin. So this year, obviously, Disneyland is celebrating its 63rd birthday, and everything about this pin is pretty much totally gorgeous. So the back is just shaped like a Mickey head. It features Sleeping Beauty's castle on it, along with Tinkerbell and your classic Disneyland logo. But what's the added extra touch to this pin is that all the blue in the background is actually stained glass. This is just, I think, a stellar design. This pin was a limited edition of 2,000, and it was a retail of $16.99. So LA pins are not really cheap these days. And then the next pin might just have to be my favorite one throughout the whole trip, and it is the Disneyland Resort Diamond Celebration or 60th Anniversary Piece of History pin. I love Piece of History pins because they have a little bubble on front that contains an actual piece of something Disney. So this pin is commemorating the Diamond Celebration from a few years ago. And inside this bubble, it actually contains a little piece or shard of the big diamond that they put in front of the castle. So I love with the pin you have an actual tangible piece of Disney, but this pin design itself is so beautiful. It has a whole bunch of added rhinestone accents. It has quite a lot of glitter on it. It's got quite a lot of screen printed detailing. And even though I didn't get to visit Disneyland during the Diamond Celebration, this is a pin that's so pretty, I probably just want to end up keeping it. This was actually also a pretty darn popular release. I had extra magic hours from staying at the resort, so I was able to buy this right in the morning. But even then, the cast members said they were going super fast, and I know by the afternoon they were sold out at all locations in Disneyland. So very happy to have been able to purchase this myself at cost. The cost of which is also $16.99, and this is also a limited edition of 2,000. I've been purchasing pins from the Disney parks for years, but this is the first time that I've actually been able to purchase LA pins from a release myself. And the cast members that I bought them from were kind of surprised that I didn't have an annual pass, and they're like, oh, somebody must have told you about these pins. Since, at least at Disneyland, it seems very much like they always have the same APs going in each week to buy the LE pin releases. Since when I was a guest all the years at Walt Disney World, I had no idea LE pins were even a thing. And I don't think I ever would have realized them, because with the new ones, you have to go up to the counter to ask for them and purchase them. They're not just put out on the racks. So it's at least better late than never with me for getting to buy LE pins in the parks. But wait, that's not all. I do have some pins in here that I did trade for while at Disney. So I didn't end up doing any trading with cast members. There were very few cast members that I saw even wearing pin lanyards. Pretty much all of the stores have small pin boards, but we were on such a short amount of time and always going, so my family didn't really like me to stay back and look in the stores. And also, it's really hard to actually be able to sift through and find real pins trading. especially since none of the new hidden Mickeys have been released at Disneyland. So I was hoping there might have been time for at least some looking around on the cast member pin boards, but that didn't end up happening. So I at least do have some pins in here that I was able to trade for there. First, I got to do a semi-in-person trade for this Judy Hopps Patriotic Shield pin. Daniel and I had worked out a trade for this pin before I had left for Disney. He's an Anaheim local, so he was luckily able to actually find me in the park while I was waiting for Fantasmic to deliver this pin to me. So that was super lucky how that worked out, and I'm super excited to add this Judy Hopps pin to my Zootopia board. This features Judy in her classic pose with a little bit of an American flag and fireworks in the background. This pin is also a really large, nice size, and it is an Ellie of 300. While we were waiting for Luigi's Rollicking Roadsters, there was a father and son who saw all the pins in my Eat-A bag and asked if I had any pins to trade. So I traded some pins from them. We were in the midst of the line moving, so I just picked some pins that kind of looked interesting to me. The first pin was this Wild About Safety pin. This was a whole series with Timon and Pumbaa on them. I think it's quite an older series, but this is the one for Stay Seated, and you can see their silhouettes going through the sign because they weren't obeying it. This is actually a pretty nice weighty pin, and I actually think that this whole old series of the Wild About Safety is pretty cool. Next pin I traded for them was this Stitch Mickey head icon pin. I'm not entirely sure what this is supposed to be. It has like ear cutouts in it, but the enamel on this is actually pretty nice and shiny, so ended up being a pretty good trade. I traded for this Scrooge Mcduck hidden Mickey pin. The back of the pin looks pretty good, but the front is kind of dipped, so I'd have to look into whether it's real or not, but I thought this was interesting since it's one I hadn't ever seen before, and you also don't see Scrooge on too many pins. And then last, I traded for this Scar Villains pin with the hyenas flanking him. So those were all the pins that I got on my California and Disneyland trip. And now the fun part comes of trying to reorganize my pin boards and put them all up there. It should be coming at the end of this week, just a video of some clips of my trip to Disneyland, just kind of some of the sights of the park there. And then the day I was traveling to Disney, I also hit 5,000 subscribers on my channel, which I'm super appreciative and thankful for. So next week, I'll also have a video with a little giveaway for that. And I did say I wanted to do a video of my entire Disney pin collection when I hit 5,000 subscribers, so that will be coming soon as well. But I always post new videos every single Wednesday and Saturday at 8 a.m. Pacific on the dot, which is Disneyland time. But as always, thanks for watching.